Hey guys, welcome back to our channel. So today we are going to be talking about my birth story, the labor and delivery. We're gonna go into a little bit of the details of everything that happened with the birth of my daughter, Ansley. I'm so in love with her. She's so perfect and she's napping right now, but I definitely want to show you guys her. She's just so cute. But anyways, I'm just gonna go ahead and tell you guys the full story of what happened in my 28-hour labor. So if you guys want to hear what happened in the whole story, then just keep on watching. So I'm just gonna jump right into the story, and I want to kind of back it up a little and start a couple of days before I actually went into labor, because those 2 days before I delivered, I was seriously miserable. Like, I did not feel good at all. I was not sleeping. I was uncomfortable. I had a lot of pressure down low. I just was not feeling well at all. I even remember telling Josue, is this just how the last 2 weeks of pregnancy feel? Or am I gonna be going into labor soon? Because I did not feel good. So by the way, I was 38 weeks pregnant. I did deliver early, thank goodness, because like I said, I was miserable. But it all kind of started, everything started happening. It was October 4th at nighttime. So at 10 o'clock at night on October 4th is when I actually lost my mucus plug, which that could mean nothing. It can mean something. Like, labor can start hours later or a week later. You just never know. But that happened at 10 o'clock at night, and then by 1 in the morning, I just could not sleep. I was having horrible lower back pain, just really painful. And I had been experiencing lower back pain, but this time it got to the point where I couldn't sleep. I couldn't fall asleep. I was so uncomfortable. I could not lay down. I was just not feeling good. So I was basically pacing the house back and forth, just not feeling well, having Braxton Hicks contractions. However, I didn't feel like these were real contractions, because you hear that it's awful pain, and I didn't feel like it was that bad. It was bearable. It was just my lower back hurt really bad. But I was also looking up online, and things were saying that you could be having back labor. So Josue really wanted me to go in and get checked, and you will see that in our labor and delivery vlog, which you guys should go ahead and check out. It's seriously one of my favorite videos. It's so beautiful. But you can see in that video how I didn't really want to go in and get checked. I'm like, it's probably not labor, famous last words, and Josue kind of wanted me to go get checked. So about 5 in the morning is when we decided, okay, let's just go to the hospital. We brought our stuff just in case I was in labor, and we're like, let's just go get checked. Like I said, I was 38 weeks, so I was early. We end up going in. I had never had my cervix checked for dilation. I hadn't even had that yet, and so I didn't know if I was dilated or not. So we go in, they put the monitors on me, and they start monitoring my blood pressure, my contractions. The nurse ends up coming in, and she's like, you're contracting every 2 to 3 minutes. What's your pain level? And I was like a 4. I was like, I'm in pain. I'm definitely uncomfortable. I was like, but it's not horrible. And she was like, girls that come in with your size contractions are saying that their pain level is an 8. She's like they're pretty big, but she's like, but the fact that you're not feeling them fully makes me think that you're not really in labor. But she's like, let's go ahead and check you. And me and Josue had been talking before, and we were thinking, I'm for sure 3-4 centimeters dilated, because I had been having so much pressure, blah blah blah. She checks me. I am 1 centimeter dilated. Yes, just 1. And so then she was like, well, I'm gonna go ahead and call your doctor. She's like, because you're not fully feeling your contractions and you're only dilated to a 1. She's like, so I'm gonna go see what they say. Well, it wasn't 10 minutes later, you guys, and I tell Josue, I'm like, I think I feel something wet down there. I was like, can you check? And he looks and he's like, there's water. And I was like, okay, tell the nurse. The nurse comes in, looks, and she's like, ruptured, her water's ruptured. Let's get an IV and get you admitted. So that is when everything just started. I know getting checked for the dilation definitely triggered something, because after that my contractions got more intense, and then my water broke. So that was fun. So I was really excited to actually be getting admitted, and like, yes, it is happening. So at this point, my contractions are still definitely bearable. They're uncomfortable, but nothing like out of control. But since I was only at a 1 and my water broke, they kind of want things to start progressing. And the next time they checked me, I can't really remember exactly how far I was. I think it was like 2 centimeters down. I was progressing very slow this whole journey. This is why it was 28 hours of labor, because I was progressing so slowly. So that's when they decided to start me up on Pitocin, which if you have given birth and they have given you Pitocin in order to speed labor up, you will know that it makes contractions very, very intense. And so after that is when my contractions were terrible. They were not fun at all. They were very painful. And that's when things, after that, everything is kind of like a blur for a few hours, because like I was in so much pain. And they couldn't give me the epidural because they were like, you have to be like 4 to 5 centimeters dilated for the epidural. And I was like, give me something. And so they gave me like this pain medication. It made me really loopy, honestly. But then eventually hours are passing. I'm in so much pain with every contraction since my water was broke. I mean, water is just flooding out. I'm in so much pain. And I end up getting a new nurse that comes in, and she's like, do you want to get the epidural? And I was like, yeah. And she was like, then why haven't you got the epidural? I'm like, I'm only at 3 centimeters and they say like I need to be at least at a 4. And she's like, no girl, we're getting the epidural started. I'm sending in the anesthesiologist. I was like, thank the Lord. And so they ended up sending them in. I got the epidural, and honestly guys, I mean, if you don't get the epidural, you are a warrior. But also if you don't get the epidural, why? Because it's so amazing, like seriously. And again, you can see in our labor and delivery vlog, like I'm like breathing in so much pain, and then like after I get the epidural, I'm like all smiles, because seriously, it is a game changer. I felt so comfortable after that. I was able to actually sleep because I was exhausted, because like I said, this all started at 1 in the morning, so I didn't sleep that whole night. So I was just exhausted from the contractions, exhausted from not sleeping. And so that is when things start getting, I guess, more real. So I end up, again, I was progressing very slowly, like very slowly. I was not dilating quickly at all. And so at some point, it's now like the night of October 5th. And they're like, you're like not progressing. I was at a 6. I was stuck at a 4 for a very long time. And then I was stuck at a 6 for a very long time. So the nurse has this just great idea to get me to dilate. And so she goes, let's go ahead and we're gonna sit your bed all the way up straight. So I was sitting straight, and she wanted like my feet touching, pressed together, like in butterfly position, like you guys know that workout position or not. But anyway, sitting up straight, feet touching, and she's like kind of using gravity to push the baby's head down in order to get you to dilate. So I'm like, okay, let's do it. So I do that. I sat in that position for 2 full hours. When she came in to check me again, she looks at me and she's like, you are so swollen, like down there. She's like you're very swollen. And I was like, no. And she checks me and she's like, you have not progressed at all. And so then she was like, when you're not progressing and when you start swelling, she's like, C-section could be kind of what happens when this starts happening. And also I was almost at the 24-hour mark for since my water broke, and they really don't like you to go past the 24-hour mark just because it risks infection and things like that. And I was so discouraged because I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to get a C-section. I started mentally preparing myself for that. I was not excited about that. But from that point on, they were like, it is like game time. They were like, they put ice packs on me. They laid me all the way down flat on my bed. They put that like peanut ball thing in between my legs because they do that to kind of like position your hips, I think, or something like that. They upped the Pitocin and they were like, we need to get this baby out. So at that point, I'm like just seriously praying because they checked me every 2 to 3 hours. And so by the time they checked me next, I was like praying like, please be dilated, because they said, that nurse had said, you know, if you haven't dilated by the next time we check you, C-section is going to be a possibility. So they come in to check me, and thank the Lord, I was 8 centimeters dilated. I had progressed. I was so ecstatic. She said the swelling went down, that I was like ready to go. And honestly, after that, they start like, once you're 8 centimeters, once I was 8 centimeters, they were like prepping the room for delivery. They're like getting everything ready, and I felt like time just flew after that. They just start getting everything prepared for the baby to come. I don't know if you guys just heard that, but Ansley just woke up. She just cried in the background. But anyway, they started getting the whole room prepared, and at this point I started like my contractions, I started feeling them again, and I started kind of being in a lot of pain, felt a lot of pressure. Obviously I'm almost 10 centimeters dilated, and so I started like just not feeling good again, having to breathe through my contractions. And so the nurse comes in and I'm like, I don't feel good, like I need more epidural. And she was like, well, let me check you because you're probably like out of 10. And she's like, and you're gonna start pushing. And I was like, I do not feel good. And she goes ahead and checks me, and she's like, yeah, you're out of 10, like we're ready to push. And I was like, you got to give me more epidural. And I was like, I'm in so much pain. And she was like, no, you're about to push. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. It's because I'm about to push that I need more, because I ain't feeling anything down there. And she's like, okay, well, you do have one other girl that's delivering ahead of you right now. The doctor's with her. So while we're waiting on that, I'll send in the anesthesiologist. And the anesthesiologist comes in and he's like, I hear someone needs a top off. And I'm like, yes, sir. Come give me more medicine. And he came, he gave me more medicine. I felt totally at peace and relaxed and no pain at all. The nurses came in first, and they're like, let's do some practice pushes. And they're like, girl, I do my practice pushes, and they're like, you're ready to go. They bring in the doctor, and honestly, the whole pushing process felt like it was literally like 5 minutes to me. But Josue says it was 30 because we were kind of like recording it, so he knows on the camera how long it was. It was about like 35 minutes of pushing, but it felt so fast. The pushing, seriously, you guys, went so smoothly, so amazing. Like, I didn't feel pain. She came right out. We had no complications. Like, the pushing aspect was a beautiful experience. It truly was. And then my precious baby girl came out. She had arrived October 6th, 9:38 in the morning, and she is seriously such a miracle. And she was 6 pounds and 18 3/4 inches long. So she was a little tiny itty bitty one because she was born 2 weeks early. And she's just so precious, and we love her so much. She's seriously the cutest thing in the whole world. But yes, the whole experience of delivery all together, from water breaking to delivery, was 28 long hours. But it's all worth it in the end for a precious miracle. And I'm gonna go get her to introduce you guys to her because she's so cute. And here she is. Hi, baby. Josue's in the background trying to make her smile. Oh, she's seriously so little. So she is exactly 7 weeks old today, huh, little miss? And she is just woke up, so she's not super happy. She's probably hungry. But here she is, little Miss Ansley. And this is her, guys. All she does is snort and grunt and cry. But we love her so much. She's seriously the most precious little gift in the whole wide world. And we are so obsessed with her. So if you guys liked this video, please be sure to like it and subscribe to our channel to see more of our vlogs with our little baby. And we'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!